I was going to say there's so many loopholes and there's so many easy ways to get around these bans. There's so many different ways we can do this that y'all would never find us and know what we're doing this. And so not only are you going to, and if it goes that route where people are going to be doing these illegally all over the city, it's going to stretch the city thin trying to find these people. Yeah. And plus you're going to go from getting this much hot tax a year to zero because no one's going to report their hot taxes after you've banned the whole city. So you're going to lose a lot of money. You're going to have to spend a lot of resources to try to track people down. And for the most part, you're not going to find them because there's so many ways to get around this.
Welcome to Live, Let, Thrive, a podcast about the Airbnb life, the share economy, and everything in between. Here are your hosts, Myka and Steve.
Hello, hello, hello.
And welcome back to another exciting episode
of Live,
Let,
Thrive. You know why I'm doing the groovy music?
Why? Because we're about to go off?
It's episode 69. Brown chicken, brown cow. Oh, sorry. Man. Yeah, so this isn't the sex episode that you're waiting for, but we'll talk like a lot of Airbnb stuff and VRBO and yeah, we're gonna get heavy into that today, like we never do. Whatever, but it's gonna be a interesting show, and we're here to bring y'all the good. What did your friend call it? What we do?
Oh, edutainment
or edutainment.
Shout out to that guy on Bigger Pockets.
I love that. Edutainment. That's what we are, man. Part education, and I don't know how big a part, but if we make what we lack in education, we make up for entertainment, I like to think.
There you go.
So, listen if you want. If you don't, whatever. We're happy either way.
Yeah.
Got our brown drink going on, and we're feeling good.
Henny. But yeah, hey, we can't be plugging them on the show. But no, man. So interesting week for us. But let me start off. How have things been with you on your Airbnb journey?
Plugging away. Same, I probably said that a million times on my show. Just, paying the bills with it. I'm not really blowing up with it or nothing. But I mean, like summer, I killed it. Mm-hmm. It's kind of slowing down a little bit. Oddly enough, November is almost completely booked. We're at October's. What are we at right now? October 16th.
Really?
Yeah. And November is almost completely booked.
Yeah, November's and December. Hey, did you try out the Price Labs?
No, not yet.
Price Labs is the truth, man. I love Price Labs. Yeah.
So what is Price Labs?
So Saeed hooked us up. Saeed hooked us up last episode before. And he pretty much was telling us about Price Labs. He was like, hey, you can set up your pricing. So pretty much Price Labs is a pricing tool, but it does more than beyond pricing. Like you can set it up to, like how Saeed said, he said 20 days out. From 20 days out, you have to stay a minimum of 4 days. So I did that. Man, and it's been killing it from my far out. So like next month to book, you have to stay a minimum of 4 days. So I did it, man, and it booked up my Little Rock place doing that. So what I did was I took all my arbitrages, like not my timeshares, my arbitrages, the ones in Dallas, my rooms upstairs in my house, all those, my high end ones. I did that I did the little Price Labs, man, and it really helps, dude.
Really?
Helps. Yeah.
That's nuts.
It's dope, man. So I was like, yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about. So yeah, man.
But it automatically shrinks down the required stay the closer you get to that date. Is that right?
Yeah. Then it goes back. So once it hits, you're no longer 20 days out. Then if it's a weeknight, one night. If it's a weekend, still the 2 nights.
Wow, that's cool, man.
Yeah, it's dope. It's a dope tool, man. Yeah.
Better than Beyond.
Yeah, it's better than Beyond price.
So
they only charge you one-time fee per month. It's like, I think, for me, I gave them 8 properties, if that, about 8 or so, just a test run, and I think my price went to like $10 a month or something like that. It ain't too high. It's nothing outrageous.
So for one property, how much would it be?
Like $20 a month. Which ain't bad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 10 to 20 or something like that.
But bad. I mean, if it books me up and gets the good prices, that's worth it.
Yeah, definitely.
Sweet. So you would say it's beyond the beyond.
Yeah.
that should be their catchphrase. I'm gonna call up Price Labs. Hey man.
Beyond the beyond.
Even though Beyond Pricing already came on our show, right?
No, I don't think they had.
No, that was Hostfully.
We gotta hit them up.
Yeah, we'll hit. Well, you know what? Beyond Price. See, that's me dropping the ball. Because remember on the LLT email,
Yeah.
they did email us and say, "Hey, we got so and so to speak with y'all," and you and I were just so freaking busy. I think what they did, they would still speak with us though.
Yeah, we got to hit them back.
But we'll get them on, then we'll get Price Labs on. Give people an option. Let them hear from both sides. That'd be cool.
Man.
So man, okay, how you been and what's new?
Man, not much. Got the Price Labs popped off. I'm really trying to. I'm going to start probably in a couple weeks. Go grab some more arbitrages in the Dallas. Actually, no. I'm not going to grab arbitrages because I think the real estate market in Arlington, Texas, is starting to slow down. Because I heard a few people say, "Hey, man, my house has been sitting out there a month and no bites."
Yeah.
So I'm going to start looking again. Hopefully, get a duplex.
No. That was that one lady that told you about that one house. I looked up that house. I messaged her directly.
Really?
And I looked up the house, and I'm just gonna say, I mean, it's North Arlington. It's in the across the way right there, in a nicer area, and it's and kind of like an ugly outside look to it, paint job and stuff. Man. Inside is nice. It's nice enough. I mean, you could tell it was an Airbnb, but I mean, like I said, dated, very dated, and and she was wanting like $241,000 for it, and it's like 1,700 square. It's not nothing that I would think. She's putting it right at the Zillow level. So maybe that's why she's not getting no bites.
Okay.
She's pricing it a lot. But I did notice we're going to talk about this city council meeting, of course.
It's going to be a huge topic.
Okay, but I sent you that one thing. I said, someone already put one on there for rent.
Oh yeah. From True.
This is definitely an Airbnb.
Yeah,
a former Airbnb.
Yeah, so I was talking to I wanted the guy with the duplex, but the big topic of today is Airbnb regulations and bans. So last night, me and Steve were pretty much out to damn near midnight.
Shit, midnight, yeah.
Dude, it was like we were in this 5-hour city council meeting, and the whole last part of this meeting, I think the last 2 hours were about short-term rentals. Mm-hmm. So like people were speaking these. Older people with red shirts were speaking. It was kind of funny though. Like, okay, everyone who was for short-term rentals, they told us to wear blue, so we had these blue shirts on. Everyone who was against it, they were in red, and they're like split up in this room. Like it's left side's blue, right side's red. Yeah. So like when you look at the crowd, like you look at this, you look at the blue side. It's like pretty diverse. People probably from the early 20s to late 40s, early 50s. Like it's in a diverse group. Black, white,
the colors
Asian.
of the rainbow.
Every color of the rainbow's out there. You look over to this other side, it's like old, gray-haired, white group. They're like, I'm like, what? So you can kind of tell it's one of those situations where I understand their problems with Airbnb. They don't want to live next to them. I understand that. But pretty much everyone was going back and forth. And the city council's final decision was, okay, we're going to allow short-term rentals, but you have to pay $1,000 for a permit plus $50 per acre of land you're on. Mm-hmm. And the permit isn't guaranteed. It has to go through a process. So and
you don't get your money back.
You don't get your money back. It's non-refundable. So I was pretty pissed about that. But
that's going to prevent like 75% of people even trying to apply, I would think, right away. Maybe 50%, at least half people won't apply because that's a lot of money to not even, guaranteed to get,
money. Yeah, to get the permit.
That'll cut out half of the people right now that are planning on, they want to continue doing Airbnb. I think. Yeah. If there's no guarantee that they're going to get their, badge of STR, they can do STR, and they're going to spend $1,000. That's a lot of money, dude. A lot of people, and a lot of people from our side, the blue side,
Yeah.
And they were up there saying this helps us, this is helping me put my daughter to school. This, help. I'm a single mom, or some dude saying it helped me with my wife's medical bills. There's people that are struggling, but Airbnb has been helping them, Yeah. And so to ask those people who like are already struggling, they have all this stuff or student loan debt, and you can say, okay, you might be able to do it, but you got to drop $1,000.
Yeah.
And most likely you're not going to get it. That's a lot to ask.
Yeah, that is. And this is honestly what I think, man. A few of the city council members came out and said they don't want it, but only one person voted against it. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to put so many restrictions on it and constrain it to where it's pushed out, which I see what they're doing. The whole $1,000 thing, that's over the top to me, because even if you go to, I've never heard of a city charging that.
I told you about them charging, like, if I wanted to build something like a mother-in-law suite or something.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. I got to pay $1,000 just to get them, just to apply for it, non-refundable also, and then it takes them like 3 or 6 months to get back to me to let me know if I can build onto my house. But that $1,000, I said, if they say no, then I lose that $1,000, and that's so I knew they were going to come at us with at least $1,000.
this is what I'm saying, y'all.
Arlington kind of sucks, man.
Yeah, it's
call it the nightmare city.
It's the city. We ain't got no term limits on the council. That's crazy. They can just sit up there.
Salute, by the way.
Yeah, salute. Got to go home and watch Queen of the South now. But this is my honest opinion. I feel like they truly want to push the short-term rental thing out. I think you should protect yourself. You know, a few guy got kind of mad at me because I would start inquiring about exit strategies, and I started poaching people's properties.
You got roasted, man.
Yeah, he was pretty mad at me, which I don't give a damn. I'm a businessman. I don't Airbnb for fun. But honestly, come up with exit strategies. Protect yourself. I tell all people, I think you should operate under an LLC. I don't think you should have your picture on your Airbnb. I don't think you should. I think you should operate under an LLC. Everything should be going to a business account. They should have your Airbnb in situations like this, especially in situations like this. Your Airbnb should not be tied to you at all. At all, to me. You might even want to go as far as if you got property that you own, transfer that into your LLC. You know, don't have nothing come back to you. So that's how I look at it, man. You know.
Now, and I heard that a long time ago about, you know, on the earlier Bigger Pockets days.
Yeah.
And they got real into depth about, you know, taxes and how to, you know, how to keep getting hit from all these taxes, this and that, or how to protect yourself from lawsuits. That was one of the big shows, and I remember that. And one of the guys said he puts his properties in LLCs, and he's talked about, I think there was one called a New Mexico LLC or something. There's different types that are around the country that you can get.
LLCs and where you go and get it, the state that you put it in.
Yeah. And it makes your assets practically invisible. Where like someone comes at you with a lawsuit, or they say, okay, you know, I tripped over this curb in front of this house. They're gonna go try to look it up, and they can't find who owns the damn house. That's crazy.
Yeah,
you put all your stuff in stealth mode. You know, not only is it protected by the LLCs, but it's protected because it's saved under some, you know, random name, and they have to go dig and spend all this money to try to find.
There you go.
Who owns this house? It's nuts, dude.
There you go. I'll keep telling people that, man. Like. If you, and that's the thing, like people, and I learned it through like the timeshare business and selling those. People truly think that the face and all that really drives the customer. A logo does much better, man, because they ain't got no connection to it.
Oh yeah,
you know, and you get the less discrimination and all that. You know, so
I've rented from logos before on Airbnb. Yeah.
Straight up. I mean, I tell people, man, you got to protect yourself. Like, I mean, I'm not sitting around waiting for no council to tell me what I can and can't do. I'm about to make a move now. You know, if they're going to ban, I might start buying. You know, hey, it's going to be with my I buy ban short-term rental houses.
Oh, the corners, yes.
Yeah, that was actually a really good idea when he said that. I was like, oh, damn, I should read that to the council meeting. But I'd support short-term rentals. But you know, it is what it is, you know, but definitely protect yourself. Come up with different ways. See if you can start an LLC, you know.
Now, here's the thing. What would happen, like, let's say, okay, the city finds out, let's say you bought one of those on an LLC, whatever, right by the stadium. The city knows it's a Airbnb. They their neighbors complain, but what can they do if they can't find you? What can they do? Can they shut it down?
This is how I look at it. Does the city have the time to look up who owns it?
I mean, that's a big part of it. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because when the lady said, she goes, "Yeah, I wouldn't talk to the city." The city said they wouldn't have the time to go through all the permits, so it may take a while. So if you don't have the time to go through all these permits, you probably don't have the time to enforce the ordinance that you're pushing out. You see what I'm saying?
Right, right.
So I'm thinking, okay, if they surely ain't about to spend the time if Motel 6 owns this house over here. Let's just use that as an LLC name. Do you really think the city's about to spend their whole time going and researching who owns that? Or who the corporate owner is, which it's actually easy to find, but it's they're protected by that LLC. But I don't think the city's going to put forth the effort to do that.
Oh, the microphone.
Oh, yeah. So I don't think
Keep
the
it,
city's going to put forth the effort to do that.
Yeah, I guess not, unless they're trying to find, okay, we can't track all these people down. Let's just try to find one and make a big example. You know what I'm saying?
And you know where that one's going to be?
Right by the stadium.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was the thing I was thinking when they're like, oh, it's not guaranteed you get the permit. The problem is they're going to discriminate. This is what I think. It's just strictly what I think. It's not true. This is what I'm thinking. They're going to discriminate upon your radius to the stadium.
Oh, big time.
That's where all the complaints coming from. Because
they're not going to approve any near the stadium. That's for sure.
They're what?
They're not going to approve any near the stadium. If they do this process of approving
people,
it's going to be far away. Mansfield, you know.
Yeah. So like, I have one in District 6 and I think District 1. Because one of them was like right across the street from Six Flags. So
yeah.
So this is my question. So if you have one in District 6, you get permitted to say yes, can you still, that's another thing. Is it permit per property? Or permit, hey, I do Airbnb, here's my permit.
I would think it's for the property, per property. I would just assume, yeah.
That's a hurt.
Yeah, it's a hurt.
$1,000 per property?
Bucks. Yeah, right off the bat, what's her name? Tracy gonna have to put in for $5.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and hers are by the stadium. They're probably
That's
not
a good question. Them. That's a good question to ask.
Yeah.
Like, is it per property or I just have a permit? Because if you're doing per property, you have five Gs, and you're not guaranteed to get it.
That's a big hit.
Ooh, I'd be pissed.
Because
and non-refundable.
I think it's that way because they talked about the half mile radius. You have to ask where your property is, and the half mile radius you got to ask all the neighbors and get them to sign off on it.
See, and then we still have to know, is that in play?
We don't know.
Yeah, we don't
exactly
know if that's in play.
I mean that was on the teleprompter, wasn't it? That was on the prompter on some of the stuff.
And I don't think that's 100% in stone.
Now here's what I think's going to happen. You know, okay, they did that to kind of, you know, they threw in that, okay, you have to apply to be, you know, to STR in Arlington, and they threw that in at the last minute, you know, right before the meeting. Yeah. They threw that stuff in, and so that pissed off the side on the the red shirts. So like, why don't you just ban it all together? You know, they're just like, it's zoned. It's not zoned for business. Blah blah blah. Just ban it. Enforce your blah blah blah. And our side was like, whoa, wait a minute, you're throwing us a bone. And then we looked in deeper to it. You're like, no, that's not a real. You know, you're just trying to throw us a little bone, but it's not really, you know.
Yeah.
There's no meat on that bone. And so
there you go.
So anyways, they threw that in the last minute, and the ex-mayor Charlie what's his name?
Charlie Parker.
Charlie Parker. He was pissed off about it, and you know, he apparently he still has a lot of pull. He has a whole coalition of voters behind him, and they'll get those jokers out of there if they don't do what he says. And so you know what I'm saying? And so so that might, when they do the next reading and they fix things, this or that might not even be there. That exemption. I'm just guessing.
You know what I think though? With the guy Larry, he just posted not too long ago. He said, "Okay, it's 100-something plus people in this short-term rental alliance group, right?"
Yeah.
He goes, "What if we all just pitched in $100 and got a lawyer?"
Right.
I'm like, that is a better idea if you think about it. If we all pitch in 100, because I was thinking this, like most of the people, I think. The family in the back with the guy who was trying to build the home for his family, he had a lawyer with him, or was that an architect?
I'm not sure.
I thought it was a lawyer, so someone said it might not have been. But every person with a lawyer or architect or whatever, they won their cases.
Yeah.
So that's what I was thinking. If we go ahead and say, forget going to these city council meetings, put a lawyer in front of them.
Yeah, that's how we'd have to play it. Yeah.
Because, I mean, think about it. 100 people pitch in $100, or 100 people pitch in $1,000 to something that's not guaranteed.
Truth. And you saw on the page on
Give the city 100 G's? That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, you think about it like that.
But like I said, most people aren't going to pay for that BS, whatever lottery ticket just to see if they get one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a lottery ticket.
It's a
and
lottery
the thing
ticket.
about it is,
$1,000 lottery ticket.
And then the fine is $2,000, right?
And you have to do it every freaking year. So the following year you have to pay another $1,000.
They're strangling us,
That's
man.
stupid.
That's a stranglehold.
Yeah.
That's all it is. That's not a bone. Yeah, that's a stranglehold. Like, okay, $1,000 per year. Let's just say it's per property. That's a stranglehold.
But then when you do have to apply for the next year, it's going to take another 3 to 6 months to get approved again because it's going to be a backlog. I mean, it's just stupid. It's not.
Yeah. It's a way to control it.
Yeah,
it's a way to control
it.
It's
a way to let us think we have freedom, but we don't.
But you know the thing that no one brought up? Because the red side made one good point. They said, okay, supposedly the city of Arlington didn't have an ordinance on short-term rentals. But I think somebody pulled something up that says you can only operate as a bed and breakfast or something, right? But what I'm thinking here is, okay, let's just say there is not ordinances, but there's things written in the law of Arlington that says, hey, short-term rentals aren't allowed. I noticed the city council is very partial because they know, okay, there's things in there that says it's not really allowed, but we've been collecting tax money. So we kind of got to be quiet about it. We don't want them in our neighborhoods, but we are collecting taxes off of it. You know what I mean? So I was like, it kind of felt like the city council was low-key caught up. That's why I felt like the red and blue should have been together on a compromise, because clearly the city council dropped the ball on that.
Oh yeah, they set up a hotline and everything to pay your hot taxes.
Exactly. They set up a hotline, and then they would never correct the red side and say, well, it really isn't illegal. We're collecting taxes. They kind of just sat back and was quiet about it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, man. I think we might have a little shady city council on our hands, but I don't know.
That would be a first.
Yeah,
and it's kind of maybe not as bad as Dallas. You always see the images from Dallas when they're talking about the latest school superintendent that took all the money, and they're throwing chairs and they're like fist fights, and it gets crazy in Dallas. It's Dallas. So we were I say for the most part it was civil. But the people, it's public speaking is hard.
Yeah.
It's nerve-wracking. Not everybody can do it. There are some people that are kind of good at it. There's some people that just get flustered and it turned into like talking angry. I'm paying my taxes and I'm doing this, and they just get it just comes out like it's like a natural thing that comes out.
Yeah.
And like
you're talking off emotion.
Like Bruce Lee says, you got to control that. Control it.
Yeah.
I'll read a Bruce Lee quote later if I remember.
I love Bruce Lee, man.
And he and
you
so
like water,
anyways,
my friend?
like water. Take any form, like water.
My bad, go ahead.
And and so both sides, for the most part, they came out there and they're pissed. They just came out and let all their emotions show. Mm-hmm. And I thought about speaking, but then I thought about what you said about let's stay incognito in case we want to keep doing this, on the DL. We don't want to have our face up there. Plus, you got to tell them your address and your name, on those cards.
Yeah, I'm good on that, homie. I'm good on that.
Don't want them coming after me. So I didn't go up there, and but I kind of was leaning towards going up there until you told me that stuff, and it made a lot of sense. I said, all right, I would just sit back in the cut, listen to all this stuff, and see where this goes. Not that it would have made a difference anyways, but I was gonna go up there and I was gonna just speak rationally. I wasn't gonna say yell at either side or or go champion my side and vilify their side or the council. I was just gonna everybody. Okay, I was just gonna explain it like simply, okay, these things exist. It's the new way things are done. It's the new way travel is done. Short-term rentals are here, and they're probably here to stay. and most likely here to stay. And yes, you can try to ban them, you could try this or that, but it's kind of there's so many. I was gonna say this, and you would definitely not want me to say this too. I was gonna say there's so many loopholes and there's so many easy ways to get around these bans. There's so many different ways we can do this that y'all would never find us and know what we're doing this. And so not only are you gonna, and if it goes that route where people are gonna be doing these illegally all over the city, it's going to stretch the city thin trying to find these people. Yeah. And plus you're going to go from getting this much hot tax a year to zero, because no one's going to report their hot taxes after you've banned the whole city. So you're going to lose a lot of money. You're going to have to spend a lot of resources to try to track people down. And for the most part, you're not going to find them because there's so many ways to get around this. And I was just going to talk rationally. So why can't we make up a compromise? Yeah. Let people do it, pay the taxes, and if they get a few complaints a year, then handle it and shut them down. But why punish everybody for there's a couple party houses, whatever. And so I was just gonna talk rationally and say that, but I know you'd be like, shut up, don't tell them. Don't tell them there's ways to get around it.
Well, you know what's funny though? Sean actually said that. He goes, if you ban these people, they're gonna do it anyway. He goes, you're collecting tax money right now. There's so many ways.
Oh, see, I didn't hear Sean speak.
Sean said it. He goes, they're going to do it anyway. You're collecting tax money right now. He goes, they're going to do it. He goes, it's technology out here. There's so many forms of technology, so many places you can list. You can create your own website. I do it all the time. There's another tip for you. I drive people from my Airbnb. My Airbnb is really a place to do bookings and for me to advertise. I drive people from my Airbnb to my direct booking. So like a lady who stayed at my place in Arkansas, she actually booked directly through me because she just went on Facebook and found me, but she found my company, I'll say. But yeah, it's gonna be here. People are gonna go underground with it. You're gonna have a guy even said it in the group. He goes, "Oh yeah, they shut it down in Fort Worth, but I'm underground. They don't know who I am," which it's easy to do. I mean, you can shell yourself behind companies and things like that. But they're gonna do it anyway. It's funny you said that because Sean did say, "Hey man, they're gonna do it anyway."
That's cool that he said that. I'm gonna go look back and see if I can find it because I left. I was like midnight and I was like, man, I gotta go. Definitely. I gotta go to sleep. And then I had to bounce.
It was funny, man. Like before, the one of the guy with the cowboy boots, cowboy hat. Oh, man. You could tell it was one of those.
A little racism going on there.
Yeah,
racism.
Dude actually said it on the way out. One of the guys I was next to, he goes, "Yeah, that guy might need a bodyguard to walk out of here, huh?" Oh yeah, because he was like, one guy he stood up and he's like, "Yeah, well, my neighbor runs one of those short-term rentals, and I don't like them." He's like, "Yeah, they had all types of nationalities outside."
Everybody on our side grumbled, what?
No, it was funny because one of the city council members,
all kinds of nationalities.
Yeah, all types of nationalities outside the house. One of the little city council members, she was sitting there, and like she was kind of looking down at it for a second, and then like when he said it, she like looked up like, "What? Like, I support you, but you're messing it up for all of us." But
yeah. Dang, now I think about it. Well, we should have got our white friends to go up there in red shirts, right? And just say all kinds of racist stuff like that, These black people, these brown people coming and staying in our houses. Funny, that would have really jacked them up.
You know what's funny? I was buying some furniture for one of my Airbnbs in Dallas. And it was still when I was doing like the pickups and stuff. And a guy, he was an Airbnb host, and we were talking about the ban or whatever coming, the regulations at the time. And he was like, "Yeah, man." He goes, "I'm going to start going to those council meetings." I don't know if I seen him. I think I seen him, but I just couldn't recognize his face. And he was like, "Yeah, man, I have a neighbor who I Airbnb. I think I told the story on the cast before. He's like, he's Airbnbs, and he has a neighbor that always calls the cops." And so he was like, man, he was getting sick of it. So he was like, he told his neighbor, like, "Hey, man, you're going to leave me alone because this now you're pushing it to harassment. You're harassing me and the people that's at my house."
Yeah.
And so he started, like, tallying up, to file this harassment thing on this dude, right? Because he's like, I'm going to just start tallying up when he's messing with my neighbor, calling me or messing with my guests. Mm-hmm. So what he started to find was this dude was messing with all the Hispanic and black guests that came to his house. He goes, man, I completely wasn't even thinking about it to take it in that direction. Jeez. But he goes, once he started tallying it up, he was like, all the guests are like minorities that he's messing with. It was pretty crazy, which I was like, wow, man. But then when that guy said that, I'm like, yeah, I see what's going on with you. I'm like, and then you start looking at the blue side. It was more progressive unit. The other side seemed like they were kind of
we're a multicultural side.
Yeah, they were stuck in their ways over there. But I don't know. But the other thing I want to talk about was the city of Grapevine. What I heard about Grapevine, I think Arlington got saved because they were paying taxes. I heard the city of Grapevine only had 5 people paying taxes. And somebody asked earlier, they were like, hey, because after the guy posted about the lawyer, and I said I agree with that, she was like, hey, Grapevine's already got a lawyer. They just need more money. You think we should team up with them? And I was like, I don't want to offend anyone from Grapevine, but I heard they weren't paying taxes. That's a different fight from us. Mm-hmm. You know, which I stand with Grapevine. But I also think Grapevine, first off, let's get it out there. Them people in them red shirts didn't shut down a damn thing in Grapevine. Grapevine has a bunch of hotel money out there, and I'm pretty sure they ain't about to just let that go to waste. So I feel like if they would have paid taxes, it would have helped. Arlington, on the hand, because it's a flip-flop thing. Arlington, we're paying taxes, and Arlington ain't got no hotels. Mm-hmm. Grapevine, they ain't paying taxes, and they got a bunch of hotels. And high-end hotels with indoors swimming parks. So I think that kind of hurt them.
Right.
So
I told you, because when I sent you that article, it showed how Grapevine passed that one. Everybody's freaking out. They banned it. But I didn't know that the surrounding cities had already banned it also. You know what I'm saying?
Which surrounding cities?
South Lake, Carrollton, what's it called? Colleyville. The ones around that area,
You know what? What I'm starting to notice is these places with
rich white people.
That in hotel. That
no offense,
hotel.
we have a lot of rich white friends, and that's cool. Fans, and that's awesome.
No, but
they're
honestly,
cool. They like Airbnb.
It's older. It's old. It's the age gap. Because if you looked over at the red, I don't think there was one person below the age of 70 over. Below the age of 70 over. I think everybody over there was 70 plus. So what I'm starting to notice is when Airbnb starts getting attention. I think you talked about a girl who Airbnbs in South Lake.
I won't say where. It was one of those cities.
She Airbnbs in a predominant older community with old money. I'll say that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens is people like that go in there and start arbitraging houses. Then you get a bunch of partiers. They're starting to see, hey, they got a whole revolving door over there. So then what happens is, okay, now they want to shut everybody down. Because what was the most problematic district the whole time? The district by the stadium. That's where they lived, up north of that stadium area.
Yeah.
Older money.
Yeah.
And now you're Airbnb-ing out there and you're pissing them off. And now they're like, hey, well, let's shut everybody down. I'm like, hold up. And I don't want this to turn into a district thing, but I think with that permit, that's what they might be trying to push.
Yeah. So
if you're in that district by the stadium, I think District 5's right there.
Yeah.
They're going to be trying to come down hard on you guys like, hey, and I'm down to fight for that district because, hey, I might want to invest up there soon too, But, that's what I think it's going to come down to. Like, I think you're what, District 1 or 5?
I'm not District 1, I don't think. That's on the other side of 30. Is that right? Or the north of 30?
That's a good question.
I think it's north of 30 is District 1.
I'm District 1.
That's where those big giant mansion houses are. You go down the road there.
And they're gated communities.
Gated communities.
See, that's when people start Airbnb-ing in those, man. That's when that attention comes.
And it don't hurt that Charlie Parker's from there, the ex-mayor. So,
dude.
that's
what I'm saying. Like, man.
Goodness gracious.
And see, and I know a lot of people that do that, because they want to make the bigger return. But, I mean,
I'm seeing a lot of house prices starting to drop on the Zillows and stuff. Yeah, I see them finally coming down. Coming to common sense prices anyways. Yeah. They're still high. But they're still coming down. Like, they're not going to try to sell this ugly ass broke down thing for $200,000 anymore. Like, it's coming down a little bit,
Yeah, I'm noticing that too.
And so, plus Arlington, it's a strange thing because this ban is coming into place. Mm-hmm. While it's the off season a little bit, the house prices are starting to drop a little bit, as naturally at this time of year, but more so. And then plus they the interest rates have been going up like every couple months, right?
Uh-huh.
And so it's making it harder, making it more expensive for people to buy a house.
Yeah.
And so it's like the perfect storm of they're just going to really stagnate the economy in Arlington, I think, in a way. You know what I'm saying? Because then the investors, yeah, they'd snapping up houses around the stadiums, Airbnb, whatever, even the crack houses, fixing them up, whatever.
Yeah.
But the investors would be like, hell no, I ain't touching Arlington now. So those houses are going to sit there, man.
Yeah.
And it's just bad timing, I think, for all this.
Yeah, it is. And it's not even good for
a great point. And you remember we were laughing because they said, well, y'all didn't really ask anybody when y'all put these stadiums in the middle of our neighborhood.
It's true. They tore down from what I heard, because I wasn't here, that stadium got built in 2008 or 10?
It was right. Yeah, it was right after the financial crisis. They started building it right before the financial crisis. I think Jerry knew this stuff was coming, so he wanted this vote to go through so he could start getting this thing built before. Because if it would have been after 2009 when all the cranes stopped and all the buildings stopped and all the house prices plummet, everybody would vote no. But I think, of course, he's in the no. He's in the rich people circle.
Yeah.
So they know, we got to get this vote in. We got to get this thing started. It was right before the 2008 crash. So he
built that thing pretty quick. Because
it was a few years.
It was
a couple of years.
As soon as I moved to Arkansas in 2008. And I came here in 2010 because I was like, man, I want to see the Cowboy Stadium because it just got done. And I came and I seen it. And then, but I started talking to like locals because every time where I go, I talk to locals. I like to, that's actually how I moved to Arlington. I like to talk to locals. The first thing they said, they were like, oh yeah, man, they tore down a bunch of houses to get that. And I'm like, dang. They're like, yeah, man, Jerry straight, hey, here's how much we're going to give you for your house. Get out and demolishing it.
They used eminent domain. They used eminent domain, which that's an abuse of eminent domain,
Yeah.
That's supposed to be used for if you're going to build like a freeway that's going to connect two cities and there's a few houses in the way. Yeah, I mean, I can see for progress, whatever, but to build a stadium for some billionaire, that's a misuse of eminent domain, if you ask me.
Yeah. I mean, they do that all the time. Hell, they used to do it. Hell, that was one of the forms of controlling poor people. It was to build freeways straight through their communities.
And that was pretty rough area of Arlington where they built the stadiums. Yeah, it was a rough area. It was they had some project looking places there and stuff. And,
dang, I'm gonna go look at some
houses.
Pictures of what it looked like.
Yeah, it was pretty rough over there.
So most of the people now, they probably would have lived like the people who over there now, they own south, right?
The people that did they go south?
Yeah, did they go
probably
south?
I think that's where all the new houses were going to be built and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, because the south area is really nice because of Mansfield, South Arlington is really nice. But I wonder where those people, that's messed up, man. Because that's what everyone was talking about. Because the guy that I used to work with when I first moved here, because he told me, yeah, I've been in Arlington my whole life. He goes, yeah, man, he tore down houses just to get that thing up. So, and then it's funny that Arlington is this big progressive city. Y'all tearing down houses. Y'all created a bunch of jobs with that stadium. Y'all created a bunch of jobs with hell, y'all building a new Texas Rangers stadium right next to it with Texas Live. Like, okay, why are you trying to stop the economy and stop small business owners who are going to bring money into the city, And I understand from the older people point of view, because most of those people don't think like us. This goes back to being an investor and think. One guy literally got up there and said, when I bought a house, I wasn't looking for no return on investment on my money. And the one dude next to us was like, why?
Why not? Yeah.
Bro, why not? But no, some people truly have that mentality. Like, hey, I just want a house where my family can live, grow up, whatever.
Yeah, and that's cool.
And that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're looking about the future, that's what I was wondering. I wonder if those people have grandkids. Like, don't you want to pass something down to your kids, your grandkids, and all that? Because we had people who were their age on our side, and the lady came. She's like, "Yeah, I want to build these houses up, build this neighborhood up, and pass this on to my grandkids, and they can keep doing it." I'm like, that's how I think too, And it's not, But
I think most of our fans think the same way.
Yeah, And this guy, he's like, I didn't think no return, but at the same time, when you have the mindset of being an investor and you have the mindset of being innovative, you'll know. Well, if they're about to build this big stadium over here, all these stadiums, the crowd coming to Arlington is going to get younger in age. So therefore, it's no longer a retirement city, Go to Mansfield like everyone else does, you know what I mean? But I don't know. It's just interesting.
It is interesting. And, there's people that just, they don't look at real estate as an investment. They're not investors, and there's people that do. So, Yeah, man. And like I said, real quick, back to that one house that I saw.
Yeah,
Because like right away, I mean, after the meeting, I guess someone said, "Screw this! I'm gonna put my house for rent on long term." You know, I'm just thinking because remember the one I sent you, the Trulia, was it Trulia?
Yeah.
And it was and you could tell, and it said it was all fully furnished house. They're gonna rent it fully furnished, blah blah blah, for $2,800 a month, and then it said 1.5 miles from the stadium. So and they didn't put a picture where the house was, blah blah blah. They didn't put any of that. They didn't put like a exact location. I'm thinking, and I looked the way it was set up. It was like really nice. I was like, oh okay, this is an Airbnb house. They're getting nervous, and they're just gonna try to long term rent it for $2,800 a month. Because they're used to getting $4,000 or more a month, so they didn't go down too far. But I'll say
in between,
a regular person looking to rent a place, they're not gonna spend that much money.
Nope.
You know, if she puts it on the Furnished Finder, she puts it on the other sites, the corporate rental by owner.
Yeah.
Maybe the house wasn't super huge though, but it was just set up. It was set up like an Airbnb. It was like a 3-2 regular 3-2 1,500 square feet, and it looked like it was set up like an Airbnb. But she's I guess that person. I think it's a girl, but she's used to getting that Airbnb money right down from the stadium, and making a lot of money. But she's just like, all right. She saw how the city council meeting went, put it online to rent it out full term.
And I think you had a really good point when you said these people can't go from making $5,000 a month to doing a long-term tenant for $1,100 a month.
No,
your mind ain't there. You can't do that no more, man.
No.
The only reason I was thinking, hey, I could still do a long-term is because I have other short-term rentals that work for me, and then just the long-term money would just be extra. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I look at it now. Like, if I go get a bunch of long terms, I do have short terms on the back end to cover it, you know?
Yeah.
So it's all about how you look at it. And it's funny, another thing you said that came to light. You kept saying, man, because I said, I don't know if these people are buying houses with the intention to Airbnb. All those people bought houses with the intention to Airbnb. I'm like, dang, are you serious? And you're like, yeah, man, I think they bought them, and they bought them with the intention to Airbnb them. And yeah, because I asked, and I got some little bit of pushback from a person, but I asked, I was like, hey, so what's your exit strategies? They were like, one dude's like, I'm liquidating everything, I'm selling, so it is. People are literally buying houses in these areas to Airbnb them, and it's city council trying to shut it down.
Man, that's crazy.
I know, but
it's sad. I mean, it's kind of a shock because we went from, because I remember when we first started doing the podcast.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know, man. Do you ever worry about Arlington shutting down Airbnb? He said, no, Jerry would never let that happen. He loves Airbnb. And I was like, yeah. Well, what? And then I sent you that article about Jerry's getting into the hotel business, and I was like, I don't know. Look now, he's gonna start putting his hotels over there. You're like, true. The writing's on the wall. It'll be a matter of time before they start banning this.
Yeah,
stuff.
That's true.
And lo and behold, real quick. It said they've labored over it for 2 years, whatever the hell. The city council. Anyway, as soon as Texas Live is up and running, now they're gonna decide to ban it. It's just a big coincidence, right?
Yeah.
And so but man, there's a lot of people like Tracy. She has 5 right by the stadium, man.
Yeah.
And they're just Airbnbs. That's how she intended it to be, Airbnbs.
Yeah.
It hurts that when her first thing she said that, or they asked her where she's from, she said, I'm from Mansfield, and all the red side, kind of booing. Like, that's exactly what they're talking about.
Yeah, that's what
people from out of town are buying up places here. And she should have turned to them and said, hey, listen, I bought up a bunch of crack houses. I know y'all didn't live by these crack houses I bought up.
Exactly.
So
another thing is, I knew that's what the red team was going for. Because I said the red team. No, the red side, they literally were looking at it as, okay, all these people are as investors. That's why, remember the guy who turned around and was like, yeah, so how many of you live in Arlington? And like half the backside raised their hand, like, we all live here. Which I see what they're getting at, and I understand. Like, I wouldn't want to live next to a party house either. But I don't live in an entertainment district of Arlington. I mean, you have to look at it like that.
Right.
When you live a block from the stadium, I mean, that's what you're going to get, So, I mean, you have to be prepared. You have to think forward out here, man. You really have to think forward. Because, I mean, if you know all this crap's coming. I lived in the Northwest. I moved to Arkansas. I moved from Arkansas to Texas, to Dallas. And I'm like, man, I want to live in Arlington, man. It's up and coming, all these stadiums and stuff. That's why I moved here. And the people who are still sitting there, you got to have to pay attention to what's going on around you because that's going to affect you, you know?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. They just seem like they're stuck in their ways.
You know, it made me laugh too. And it was kind of, it was kind of symbolic in a way that the side against it, all in the city council meeting.
Yeah.
It was all, you imagine a wedding. I imagined a wedding, there's like an aisle down the middle. And on the right side is the bride's family, the left side the groom's family, whatever. I don't know which, they usually sit in the bride's side, sits with the bride, and they all, it's supposed to be symbolic, whatever. Yeah. But the right side of the aisle was all red, and we were all blue. And immediately I thought Republican and Democrat. I don't want to try to get into, well, this is all politics, right? But I just decided, and I'm betting, well, I think it was, I don't know, someone from the group. Remember they were saying something about, this, be sure to vote for in the midterm, or blah, blah, blah. And then someone said, oh, are you, I saw Beto, Beto is a guy running for the Senate here. And he's a Democrat running for the senator here in Texas. And, and he's a Democrat. Yeah, whatever, I said that. But she's like, be sure to, I saw you're voting for Beto, but be sure to vote for Republicans because the Republicans wouldn't be against wouldn't be against them short-term rentals. And I was like, and if you went to that place and you saw all the older white people there in the red shirts, I bet you 99% of them are Republicans. Yet, I'm not saying, whatever. I don't lean one way or the other, like I said before. But you're saying that Republicans are not against short-term rentals, but there's a whole bunch of Republicans on that side screaming and shouting, trying to get rid of short-term rentals. So I don't understand.
That's true.
What her logic there? And if you think about it, on the other side, on the blue side, I bet there was a lot more Democrats. I'm not saying, I'm just whatever. We talk whatever we talk, and I bet there was a lot of more Democrats on our side. It was a big, diverse, progressive group. Whatever.
In Texas, though.
In Texas, what?
You think there was a lot of Democrats over there?
No, on our side of the on our side of the aisle, there's a lot of younger people. I'm just saying they would be probably. I know it was probably a lot of Republicans too, but I'm saying there was definitely more Democrats.
You have a more higher chance of being a Democrat on our side.
Right.
Yeah.
So my argument would be the blue side. Even that girl, has the Beto on her thing, and she that doesn't sound right. But anyways, that side, like I said, was the ones pushing for this is good. This is good for the economy. This is good for us. Let's do this, like a progressive thinking kind of way. And whereas the old guard, that right side was probably 99% Republican, are the ones trying to take away property rights in a way. Yeah. And I just thought that was ironic because I always thought the right would always think for property rights, leave us alone. Smaller government, get the government out of my house. Don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
But they're the ones that want the government to come in and tell people what to do with their houses.
You know what I noticed with politics, though?
Exactly.
No. Whenever you start, this is how I notice with politics. All politics come together when it's for money.
When it's, Because
our group was diverse. Because I truly think, my honest opinion, I think we had more Republicans. I think we had just as many Republicans as them. Truthfully, only because of what I know about who's in there.
I know. I'm not saying there's no Republicans.
Yeah, I know. We might have more Democrats.
We would have had more Dems.
Yeah, than them.
More than those. They were all like 80 years old, white, and that's pretty much the Republican demographic. I'm just saying from what it looked like.
From what it looked like. But my thing is, that's why I say with when it comes to money, a whole bunch of people will come together. Democrats, Republicans, everybody. They're making money off of whatever it is.
Yeah.
So when it comes to that, they might have been. I think they were 99%. But I think, truthfully, they were old and they just didn't want people in their prop. Because dude said it. They got a bunch of nationalities in my neighborhood. You could kind of tell. This dude here. Because everybody, when he said it, was like, wow, he really said that? You know what I mean? But
it's not pretty racist,
yeah. The dude said it on the way out. It was pretty funny. But no, I mean,
we're going to put okay, it sounds boring as hell, right? Yeah. Our city council meeting, and it is boring as hell, all the way up until people started talking.
No.
But we'll post a link on our show notes.
Yeah, we're going to post a link to
and fast forward to when people start talking about the short-term stuff.
Yeah.
And if you could find this one Asian lady, I forgot her name. She got up there. Oh, she's like a Filipino lady. and she just started, and it was so funny because she was so animated, and, you know, and when you get on the microphone, you're staring, your back is turned to us, you know, the audience, and you're staring at the city council members, and you're telling them your case, you know, I think this is it. She got up there and she's like, I just want to say I came to this country in 1970, and I've made a life for me and my family and living the American dream, and I believe this is the dream city. And she just started getting, like, her arms started moving, and this and that, and then she started looking at the red side, and y'all believe in the dream, and we're in this together, and the blue side is this together, and and we shouldn't, you know, inhibit the American dream, and she just, it was so cool, and she turned around and looked at us, and then the council was trying to control her, say, hey, turn around and talk to the microphone, because there's other people in the lobby that want to hear this too, but I think they probably heard anyways, because she was pretty much shouting. It was the funniest crap I ever seen. If we could find just a clip, we'll try to make a clip of that and throw it on the show notes, but if not, we'll throw the whole thing.
Make a clip of it.
But she just started, and then what she ended up finishing with, it was so funny, and she goes, and together we can make America great again. Like,
I was rolling, man.
And so you can tell, and I was looking at the red side, the Republican side, I was like, oh, what do they do now? They have to clap to that, because that's their leader says all the time, right? And Kanye's their leader. And so
but what's funny though, this is what I noticed about the people that were against it. They had no compromise, man. Like, they did not want to compromise. Like, even every time someone would say something to compromise, like, it was one dude, you see that dude who would always hold up his sign? Like, they have no compromise. I'm like, dude, it's people in here trying to compromise with you and you're still against it. Right. Like, what is going on?
Right.
That was a trip to me, man. That's crazy. Like, no compromise, zero. Like, cause even like one guy went up there and he's like, "Look, man, we want the bad host gone just as much as you do, you know, because especially if they're trying to shut everybody down." So, I don't know, man. It was a trip to me. So, I mean, I feel like, but I like I said, I'm gonna take precautions for myself. I'm not about to wait for the city council. I feel like I don't know what Arlington has in place to enforce any of this. You know, my favorite saying, easier to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. So, hey, they start slapping $2,000 fines, I'll
that'll get your attention.
I might play ball, you know. But I don't know. I'm not saying that. But no, I'm just saying, like, y'all went overboard with $1,000, and $1,000 without a guarantee. That's crazy, man.
That's nuts. At least give them the money back, right?
Yeah, you know what I mean. But it's crazy.
And I was thinking too. I was about to tell you when we were there at the city, the council. I was like, "Hey, man, there's going to be a lot of listings, you know, changing their names from Arlington, listing by the stadiums to Grand Prairie listing by the stadiums. They're going to start changing all their names, to Grand Prairie. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what, I don't know how that would work, because you know how Arlington, I'm sorry, Airbnb puts a little map when you put your address in there. Yeah. Can you put an address that's a Grand Prairie address? Can you do that? Is that even possible?
Yeah, but it's gonna move your.
It'll move the circle up.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But it'll be close to the stadium still. It'll just be up the road.
Are you saying put in a Grand Prairie address, but drop your pin somewhere else?
Oh, can you drop the pin somewhere else? Can you do that?
Yeah.
Well, shoot, yeah, do that. Because I mean, okay. The easy thing for the city to do is go in there and look up, okay, let's just look up all the Arlington ones, right? Yeah. And so, but if yours reads right away, Grand Prairie, Airbnb or whatever, Grand Prairie Stadium, they're not going to go after a Grand Prairie. That's not their jurisdiction. And they're probably not going to open that one up and then make phone calls and send messages. It's probably going to just...
But thing is, you got to know Grand Prairie's laws. If they ain't got them in your... planning to really literally buy over there, that could be a problem.
No,
I know what you're saying.
I'm just saying, change your listing to say Grand Prairie side, because right up the road.
I would also do this. I remember I was throwing out a bunch of ideas, like, hey, if they shut it down, like ban it completely, you could possibly just, hey, create a bunch of Airbnb listings on your block. Like, if they got 50 listings on your block, you just make one for each of your neighbors, you know. They don't know they ain't about to just come start. Well, I don't know. They might label doors on label something on everybody. I don't know.
The Gestapo coming to each door.
Yeah, you know. But I don't know, man. I truly want to see what they're going to do to enforce it. I'll tell you the truth. I've been tough on Facebook and Instagram promoting myself. So promoting my business.
Speaking of promoting,
Yeah.
You saw you watched the Cowboys game this last Sunday.
I didn't get to watch it, but I heard they did some damage.
They did some damage. Okay, and we're not going to talk football or none. But everybody, I think everybody out there knows who Conor McGregor is, right?
Yeah.
The UFC fighter.
Yeah.
Well, he was at the Cowboys game.
He was?
He was there before, pregame, throwing the football around on the field in his suit. He had like a Jerry Jones looking. He called it his billionaire suit.
Wow.
And he was he went there to enjoy the game with his buddies. Of course, they put him up in the suite and stuff. And he's there pimping out his product, his Proper 12 whiskey.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so he always talked to the UFC, it was actually I think that was part of the deal for him, his last fight. Okay,
yeah.
I get to promote my whiskey as part of the deal, whatever.
Yeah.
And so so he came. Yeah, he's an Irish whiskey. He's from Ireland, and he so every press conference he promoted the hell out of his whiskey.
Yeah.
Put it on the table, blah, blah, blah. And we always talked about it. Came to the game, came to the Cowboys. He went to the Denver Broncos game like earlier, and then he came to the Cowboys game. He was over there. He was hyping them up in the huddle before the game and all this stuff. And it was funny. And so he was up there, just handing out from his suite, handing out bottles of the Proper 12 and stuff, and just handing it out to the teammates. To the Cowboys, and they, of course, they kicked ass that day, so he has to come to every game now, I guess. And so anyways, his whiskey, and because I'm bringing this all the way back around. Jerome, you listening, Jerome? I bring it all the way back around. And so his whiskey, I actually looked it up, and they said, it's not that impressive. It's more like maybe lower than a Jameson type whiskey. It was talking about, it's definitely, for a few bucks more, you can have an excellent whiskey or whatever instead of buying that one. And he said it's good, but it's not, really good. Not whatever. And so, but that stuff was flying off the shelves because he's out there promoting it, and he's putting his face. Of course he earned it. He busted his hump to get where he was, but he's just a great talker, a great promoter, so great self promoter. All his fights, everybody gets hyped up because he's talking crap to the other fighter, and then. So he's promoting the hell out of his whiskey, and it's just flying off the shelves because all his fans, they don't care how it tastes. They're buying the damn thing.
Conor drinks it.
And Conor drinks it, yeah. If unless they put like a real whiskey inside of his bottle, who knows? But that was going back to your promotion, man. You got to be a shameless self-promoter in this life to get ahead. You really do.
That's
and
true.
It just goes to show. You can sell whatever crappy product. Hopefully, it's a good product. Yeah. But if you just promote the hell out of it and put a good face on it and just go, or no face, and
there you go, no face.
Yes, shameless self promotion is what sells.
I see you wrote that down. And that's true. That's how I am on my Airbnb account. I have shameless self promotion. I promote the hell out of my product on there. Like, no face, nothing. I just promote it. And I think that's. And you noticed something last night. I noticed everyone kept saying Airbnb, Airbnb, Airbnb. Mm-hmm. I was sitting there like, man, y'all should really say short-term rental, because if you keep saying Airbnb and y'all up here giving y'all address and information, I'm like,
oh yeah, they kept those cards.
Dude. But I'm like, I'm happy I ain't do that to myself. I'm like, I don't know what Airbnb is. I hate them. I'm like, seriously, I'm like, that's the thing. But that shows you, that goes back to promotion. That shows you how strong Airbnb is. When people say they do rentals, what do they say? I have an Airbnb.
Yeah.
They don't say I have a short-term rental. I have an Airbnb. And that's what everyone up there kept saying. I'm like, yeah, you be careful giving out your information, saying that you have an Airbnb. Yeah. Good luck to you. You got that $1,000 yet for that permit?
You got the $1,000. Better start saving.
Yeah, but that was a trip to me. I'm like, man, everybody's going tough on the whole Airbnb thing, so.
And it was still a trip to me. It was like some buddies at my work, because I usually work 4 hours over pretty much every day, overtime. Yeah. Because it's, they're handing it out like crazy. So I was actually, yesterday, I went home, I say early. I worked my regular 8 hours. I got off at 2:30. And they're like, you're not going to stay, man? You're not going to stay? I was like, no, I got some city council meeting to go to. They're trying to ban Airbnb. They're like, Air what? There's still this older generation that doesn't know what Airbnb is. And it's like, it trips me out because you see it all over the place. You see these bans coming and stuff, but there's still a lot of people that have never used it and I don't think they will ever use it. They're just stuck on hotels. And you looked at the red side, and a lot of the people that were getting up there speaking on, one of the blue teams getting up there and speaking, they looked at the red side. I mean, I wish y'all would raise your hands, all the people that have used Airbnb before. And and he said probably no one's going to raise their hand. Probably no one on this side uses Airbnb on the red side. And if y'all just went out and used it, tried it out, when you travel, go stay somewhere and just try to get an Airbnb, your minds are going to change. You're going to see it's more than just it's more than just like a hotel in the middle of the neighborhood. It's something, it's part of the neighborhood. People want to rent Airbnbs because they want to be, get that neighborhood feel. Yeah. They want to see what the locals see. If I go to Spain, I want to rent an Airbnb and be there where the locals are and have the local restaurants. And I don't want to sit. I want to go to the same hotel where everybody they heard all the people there, in the middle of nowhere, and you walk outside your door and it's all tourist traps surrounding the hotel. I want to go to the neighborhood, go to a neighborhood in whatever country, whatever city, and experience it like I'm a local, and even that was in their slogan, the Airbnb commercials, travel like a local or stay like a local or something like that. And that's really cool. And they were just telling y'all, if y'all just tried it out, you would change your mind about Airbnb. It's not all bad.
Yeah, and they're too bullheaded for that. They ain't about to listen to that crap at all. I'm serious. They ain't about to listen to that. They were like, because, as soon as they asked, hey, have you ever stayed in a no, I ain't never done it. It was just like, oh, my God. And I was surprised. It was like two or three young people over there. I'm like, why are they over there? But, some people have an old soul, I guess. So, I don't know.
All right, Myka. So let's get down to some nuts and bolts.
Go ahead.
How can people go into stealth mode on Airbnb?
It's only so far you can go with stealth mode on Airbnb. Now,
or you can, on renting your place short term.
You need to create your own booking platform, which it's easy to do if you use a system like Guesty, Hostly, and all that. That's really easy to do. You can create your own booking platform. Hell, you can create bookings through Google. You can get booked through Google. First off, I tell all people, take your damn face off Airbnb, especially if you're in a damn city where there's no ordinances, or if they do have ordinances, you need to be operating under an LLC. I was actually listening to a lady in Portland today, and she says Portland makes you operate as an LLC. They charge you business taxes or whatever, which it does save you in the long run. There's a bunch of ways to go stealth, man. I've done it. It's pretty much, don't connect yourself to the Airbnb. Turn your Airbnb into a business. I know there's some different type of hosts, meaning there's hosts that do it because they want to give somebody an experience, or they want to feel like, hey, I'm Billy, and I know Josh is coming to town. I want to have that connection. And those are the people who might be the first ones to get wiped out, just saying. Because they're going to find you quick. And, right. I'm supporting I want Airbnb or short-term rentals to be banned, but like I said, man, treat your business like a boxing ring. Protect yourself at all times, I kind of felt like Arlington for a while has been data mining, kind of,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they've been data mining, So don't give up any voluntary information about yourself.
Right.
To me, I could be wrong. People might say I'm not playing ball, but hey, I've been in a bunch of places where stuff's been shut down. And
why are we editing ourselves today?
Oh, my bad. But no, I'm just saying, like,
no, I did it too. I'm just.
If you look at New Orleans, like somebody posted in the group, hey, we should offer New Orleans way. I'm like, hell no, I got shut down in New Orleans. New Orleans don't play. Like, New Orleans did this. I'm scared to even say this on the show because I don't want nobody from Arlington to hear this, and I don't want nobody from the red side, but I'll say it. But what New Orleans did to put a strong hold on Airbnb was they put out this real strong, hey, you have to get permitted. On the website, it looks pretty. Like, oh, you just have to pay $150 for a permit. You get your permit, you can run your Airbnb. But they don't tell you about the process of it. And they don't tell you that New Orleans, what they did, instead of fighting citizens, New Orleans is like, forget it. We want you gone. They went straight to Airbnb. And they're like, in order to host in our city, if you don't want New Orleans coming on to Airbnb, they have to put all their tax information on their listing. And there's a option. If you go, you can go do this. Anyone, if you want to test this out, go do it. Go try to create a listing in New Orleans. They're going to ask you for your number, your permit number. Wow. And then after they get your permit number, it takes them like they go back. Airbnb goes back to the city of New Orleans and verifies if it's legit. And if you don't have it, shut down your listing. That's what I was telling people, Arlington. Keep that crap so far away. Don't even mention New Orleans to them. Because New Orleans is strict. Like, even the guy who was giving the speech at first, remember, he even said it. He goes, yeah, it's a mess in New Orleans. I'm like, damn right it is. Yeah, because New Orleans, man, I don't think I had a booking there in a while. Even Austin, I get bookings. But New Orleans, yeah, they're strict. They went full shutdown on it. Damn, and that's what that's what I kept saying, permits. Permits is a way to regulate, man. That's all that is. That's just a way to regulate. And it's always been a way to regulate. If you ask people to permit on this, permit on that, you because you haven't given these people, what's for you to say no to my permit? You haven't given the people that, you know what I mean? The half-mile thing, we don't know if that's still on the table. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, be careful with the permit, especially New Orleans, man. New Orleans doesn't play. I know a bunch of people that went out of business in New Orleans. So, yeah, be careful with the whole New Orleans thing. Don't even bring that up to the city council. I don't want them talking to nobody in New Orleans. Seriously. New Orleans, like the strict places I've been, New Orleans, Vegas. Vegas will not shut you down. Vegas, New Orleans, but I still get bookings to Vegas. But in a few areas in, Cali, San Diego's tough, and a few places in Florida. So, I've seen these regulations come about, and they ain't pretty.
And you know what's even crazier? Because they've been all alluding to this vote that the Texas Supreme Court's going to vote on, property rights, and if we can do Airbnb in Texas, whatever. And you would think, it's a state law. It's going to encompass everything, right? Everybody has to follow state law. That's how it is. And so what the red side, led by Charlie Parker, well, he went ahead and said it in the meeting. He's like, okay, this is good. This is right direction. Y'all are banning Airbnb, except for that caveat, which I don't like. You should throw that out and just ban it all together. But we guarantee that we will help y'all go down to Austin, and if it passes that Airbnb, whatever, they legalize short-term rentals throughout the state, we're gonna go hand in hand with you guys, kind of like saying, we're your voters. We're voting you guys on this place. Yeah. We're going to help y'all fight it and go down to Austin and say, hey, leave us alone up here in North Texas. We're going to get together. He said we're going to form a coalition with other cities in North Texas that have banned Airbnb, and we're going to tell Austin, which is the capital of Texas, that leave us alone. We like this ban how it is. I know the whole state can do it, but just leave us alone and don't come change our laws. You know what it is? What it's truly going to come down to? We got to keep it real. Money talks, bullshit walks. You got to literally hire a lawyer, or you got to start putting money in some politicians' pockets. Straight up. I'm dead serious. Straight up. Like, if you really want something like that passed, you got to start putting money in politicians' pockets or paying somebody. Because, at the end of the day, okay, just look at the room in Arlington. Half are against, half are for. Do you think it's more people? I'm not going to say that. I feel like you could make a big impact if you got with other hosts in other places. Like, because the guy in Grapevine, he said, hey, we should team up with them, which I agree we should team up. But with the whole lawyer thing, I'm kind of scared on that because y'all have a different fight than us. Right. Y'all wasn't paying taxes, So, I think you could get with other. If he does that, we can get with other cities and do the same thing. Right. But the thing about Texas is if there's property rights in place in the Texas state constitution, you have to abide by that. But I also read a thing where the Texas said they never put an ordinance in, so they left it up to local governments. Which gives Arlington the right to do what they're going to do. They only remember that thing that Texas sent across was for HOAs. So, like they say, all politics is local, right? Yeah. Okay, you mentioned Larry earlier. Yeah. Well, you said he had a. Excuse me. You said that Larry guy had a great idea. He was saying. Yeah, I said he said put our money together for a lawyer. Oh, okay, that's it. Okay, because this is what she mentioned it here. I was trying to read right from the Arlington Short Term Alliance site. But Really, if you look at it real quick, it looks like it says Larry the Cable Guy, but it's not Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Well, someone wrote on here that was pretty, it's kind of sad in a way. And let me see if I can find it. Okay, here we go. I don't think she minds if we say her name, Jerry.
I don't want to do that.
Okay, I won't say her name.
Yeah.
Anyway, someone from the group. I'm just going to read what they wrote. And anyways, whatever. She wrote, I'll go ahead and read it. It said, I've been such an ambassador of fun, happiness, and joy in this city. For visitors and residents, too, for almost 10 years, hoop in hand. But right now, and probably in the future, I just can't even. Very disappointed. Really have loved hosting visitors a few times a year. Very bummed to have to stop. My spirit is crushed. Keep on fighting and I'll stay informed. Help support as I can. Unfortunately, we'll probably be bowing out for good. We simply don't want to do our, she kind of messed up the thing right here, so I messed up the sentence flow. Sorry. We simply don't want blah, 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 occasional, we don't want these, to have to fight against STR regulations and the SUP stipulations, even though I'm real good at jumping through hoops, literally. But in this case, for us, our situation, the juice just isn't worth the squeeze. And so I thought that was kind of sad. She enjoys doing the Airbnb thing, and she took pride in being a good host and showing people a good time that came to the city. And all that's gone, man, in the city, and it's just looking at it as cold as they can look at it, as just black and white. They're not looking at the grays, at the good stuff that it brings. And so that's kind of sad, but I guess we kind of all knew it was coming in a way.
Yeah. I mean, the people that do it, I said, there's the people that are attached to it, And then the lady who spoke at the end, she was very attached to it, She does it for an experience, I was also thinking, home share hosts. Can the city of Arlington truly tell you who you can have at your house if you're there? Because I think New York might have, but I haven't heard of no one besides, I think New York and possibly even Colorado lets you, if you live in the house, you can have a room in your house. That was my thing. Like, hold on, you're telling me I can't do this and I live here? Mm-hmm. That's like telling me I can't have guests at my house. You're tripping. Right. So, I mean, I don't know. I might want to. That's why I wanted to look at the home. I need to post in that Airbnb home share host group. And I'm going to talk to someone like, hey, any of y'all in Arlington, Texas do home shares? Right. What do you think? Because I'm going to ask them that too.
Their whole point is they just don't want people running a business out of their house in areas that aren't zoned for business. That was their huge gripe, and it's a valid gripe.
Yeah, it's valid.
You can have a hair salon and nail salon in your house. I mean, there's certain things you can do. You can do stuff like certain things. You can't run a restaurant out of your house and this and that. And so I guess they consider this a business, which it kind of is.
It is, yeah.
But
I mean, you can be a personal trainer out your house. I mean, it's a business, but hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
The next episode is going to be episode 70. Can you believe that?
70. We got 30 more to 100. 100, man. We got to turn it up. But no, man, I hope this episode, I really want people to, be involved with your city council. Go see what they're talking about. Step forth if you want. Just learn how to operate out off. If you can operate outside of these major platforms, get your business out there, promote yourself. You can be involved as much as possible, see what's going on, make sure, because I feel like there's always going to be a loophole,
And you know what? This is the first city council meeting I've ever been to in my life.
Yeah.
And going up there, it was very eye-opening.
Yeah.
Because not only for our topic, they did the other topics that were on the agenda before ours, because they knew ours was going to take the longest, right?
Yeah, they did.
So they knocked out a few things, and a few of them was just like someone wanted to turn like a lot that was zoned for a duplex. They wanted to build like a single family house for their daughter, and blah blah blah. But it wasn't zoned that way, and they went up to the council. Well, actually, the guy that was doing it, Mexican dude, they said his name. he hired like this lady. She's like a lawyer, whatever. She went up there and she said, okay, she had a little slideshow. This is where it's at, blah, blah. This is the people that owned it before. He had no idea it was zoned for that. And he just wants to build a nice house for his daughter here. And they all voted, okay, that sounds reasonable. And yes. They all voted yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of cool, you know, because I mean, that was just an example of, okay, you know, there is a use for the city council, and there's, in a way, because, you know, arguments like that, and you get someone, you go up there rationally and ask for something. There was another one that took a little longer. It was like someone wanted to build a little strip mall right there in front of a school. So that took a little longer, but they eventually passed that one. You know, they asked a whole bunch of questions and stuff. But then it got to ours, and the people that were speaking at the other ones, they stayed around and spoke at ours a little bit. Yeah. And the city council members and the ones that are usually that go to these city council meetings are not really the youngsters like us. I'm not saying I'm young, whatever. Yeah. But it's the old white-haired people that go to these councils, and they're the ones that push a lot of this legislation in our cities. Because they know these council people, they vote for them.
Yep.
I didn't know one name of our council people, and but they know them by name. They talk to them every day. They vote for them. They live by them.
It shows you have to be involved.
Exactly. Yep. And so the people that are running your cities are the old white-haired people that you honk at to get the heck out of the way because they're driving too slow. But they run your city because they go to these meetings and they know the council people and they get these laws passed and whatever put in place. I mean, just look at Airbnb. They're banning this huge-ass freaking corporation. It's big grassroots. Yeah, because we are too busy as youngsters or millennials or whatever you call us. We're too busy trying to get out there and make that money that we're not paying attention to this stuff. So it is important to go to these, and I feel I'm going to go to more of these. Yeah,
I am. I depending on what's no, I don't know. I will. You know, I have very different views on politics, so I mean, I might start going to them. You know, especially with my views. You know, so I might go to a few more. But yeah, I'm
gonna see you on the other side of that table one day. You're gonna be running for council. You're gonna be running things. And there was only one person of color in that whole panel of the council members. Yeah, it was a black dude at the end, on the very far on the right end, and he didn't say one word in the whole night. He
has a pretty high position though.
Does he really?
Yeah, he's the mayor. If something happens to the mayor, he's the guy that steps in. He's the what do they call it, the pro tempore?
Oh, is that what he was? Yeah. I thought he was just running a district, District 9 or 10.
Yeah, he runs that district, but he
didn't say, okay, I don't know why, but he didn't say one word.
Yeah, because I was looking at I've met, it's my second time meeting him, though.
Uh-huh.
I met him, I actually shook his hand and talked to him one time. I met him at the first meeting about Airbnb that was in District 6. Mm-hmm. And I talked to him for a minute, but, that's another thing, watch your district, too. Like, find out what district you're in. I noticed that because I truthfully don't think... That's why I wanted to know if it was per property, because I think in South Arlington, I think if I get that permitted, I don't got to worry about the rest. But that's a good thing we need to post in the group. I'm going to post that in the group.
Cool.
But yeah, man, thanks for listening, y'all. Definitely check out our Instagram. We're popping on Instagram now. We're posting stuff every now and then. You know, we'll tell you what's coming up in upcoming episodes. You know, so if you're waiting for an episode, we let you know what's going on. So definitely.
Sorry, we got real heavy into our own local fight going on here in Arlington, Texas. But, I mean, it does resonate throughout the country. Yeah. Because right now, you know, there's cities, I mean, there's cities that are starting to, you know, think about banning it. There's cities that are banning it. There's cities that allow it, but real strict regulation. Mm-hmm. But if our freaking Podunk, Texas places, there's top North Texas cities start banning it, and we're the most red state there freaking is, about leave government away from us, but they're using government to take away property rights. If they start seeing Texas do this, I think a lot of the other real progressive ones are going to start doing it as well. And so, yeah, like you said, go to these meetings, go to these council meetings and get involved, because I mean, it's going to happen, and it's bad news for us especially, but it's really bad news for Airbnb, man. They've opened up a can of worms here.
They did. But yeah, man, definitely try to protect yourself though. Be involved, definitely.
Well, thank you all for listening, and find us on the web, liveletthrive.com, liveletthrive@gmail.com, all that good stuff, and check out all the stuff on our show notes, and we'll see y'all next week.
Yeah, get involved. Peace.
Later.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Live, Let, Thrive. Be sure to tune in next week for all the latest in the world of Airbnb and all that entails. Bye-bye.